Hi guys, this is Sadak from Dwarden.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to flash the latest Project Matrix ROM onto your Galaxy S20 FE. So the supported device are S20 FE and S20 FE 5G variants. Both are the Snapdragon variants. The ROM is not supported on the Exynos build, so please don't flash on this build. Moreover, please take a backup of all the data on your phone. And now let's get started. So first and foremost, you will have to get hold of the ROM file from here. If you want to obtain root, which is completely optional, then you may also download the kernel SU file, or you may also get hold of the Magisk file. Both of them will work for obtaining root. As of now, simply let's flash the ROM file. So get hold of the ROM zip file. Once you have got the ROM file, you will now have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. Do note that unlocking the bootloader will wipe off all the data, and it might make the warranty null and void as well. Apart from that, the Knox will be tripped, and as opposed to all the other OEMs, in case of Samsung, a Knox is a hardware component which is embedded in the motherboard. So once you have unlocked the bootloader, its state changes from 0x0 to 0x1, and then it is tripped forever. You will not be able to go back to the default state even if you relock the bootloader. So all the caveats and drawbacks will be there forever with you even if you have removed root and relocked the bootloader. So keep that point in mind, and then you may refer to a guide and the video and get this job done. Simply boot your phone to the download mode, and from there you will have to long press the power up key, and after that your phone will be unlocked. It will undergo a reset and then boot to the OS. Once it's boot to the OS, make sure to turn on the Wi-Fi, connect to internet, and then go to the developer option and make sure that you are getting the OEM unlocking toggle enabled on your phone as well. Once that is done, let's now move ahead with the next step. So now you will have to install the TWRP recovery onto your phone. So you may download the recovery from the official TWRP website or unofficial trusted sites such as XDA developers. Make sure to also verify if your phone supports the multi-disabler or the FB disabler. In case your phone supports the multi-disabler, then you will also have a multi-disabler or VB Meta patch file. If your phone does not have a VB Meta patch file, then it might be the case that your phone supports the FB disabler. So you may verify that from the website or the XDA site as well. Once that is done, let's now flash the TWRP recovery onto our phone. I have made a separate guide and a video on the same as well, but still I'll show you how to get that job done. So first and foremost, you will have to boot your phone to download mode. There exists quite a few ways of doing so, but I'll show you the uniform method which is applicable across all the Samsung phone. So go to the settings menu on your phone. From settings menu, you have to go to about phone and then go to software information. From there you have to tap on build number 7 times. You will get a prompt that you are now a developer or developer mode has been enabled. Now go back and you should now see developer option. Go there and enable the toggle next to USB debugging. You will now get a prompt on your phone. Tap on OK. You might get an RCK prompt as well, so checkmark always allow if this is your own PC. Then tap on allow, and let's now verify the debugging connection. For that you will have to download the Android SDK platform tools. So I have given the link. Get hold of the tools from here and extract them onto your PC. You could extract them anywhere you want. In my case, I've done the extraction in C drive, and these are the files of platform tools. Just a minute, there are some additional files as well. Let me remove these files. So these are the files of platform tools. Extract them onto your PC. Now type in CMD in the address bar and hit enter. This will launch command prompt inside platform tools. If that does not happen, then simply copy the location of the platform tools. Go to start menu, type in CMD and open it. Then type in CD space location, hit enter, and we are now inside the platform tools. Now type in ADB devices and make sure that you are getting a serial ID. If you are not getting any ID, then unplug and replug your phone from the PC. Disable and re-enable USB debugging. Tap on revoke USB debugging. Use the official USB cable that came with your phone and use the USB 2.0 port on your PC. So carry out this USB tweaks and make sure that you are getting an ID. Once you're getting an ID, you will now have to proceed ahead with the next step. So now let's move ahead and get hold of the TWRP recovery and the VB Meta patch file. So since we are using the Galaxy S20 FE, the version is 780G. So both the files for both the variants 780G as well as the other variant as well, which is the G781B, the recovery and the VB Meta patch file should work across both the phones, so get hold of the recovery and the patch file. Once you have got both the file, let's now move ahead. Now you will have to get hold of Odin. This is required to flash the TWRP recovery onto your phone. So download the Odin and extract them onto your PC. Upon extraction, you will get a couple of files. So let me show you. This is how Odin should look like with these files. Now moving on, you will now have to boot your phone to download mode. So for that, let's do that as well. Open the CMD window and type in ADB, reboot, download and hit enter. And your phone should now reboot into download mode, which will take only a few more seconds. So let's just wait for that to happen and then we will proceed ahead with the next step. So let's wait, and we are now inside the download mode, and now we could flash the recovery file onto our phone. So first off, launch the Odin via the exe file. You will get a warning, click on OK. Then make sure that it's showing as the COM port and the log is also shown as added. Then go to option and uncheck auto reboot. After that, go to the AP tab, choose the TWRP file. It will be in a zip file, so let's choose that as well. TWRP file from here, it will be in a .tar file. Select it and click on open. Then go to the user data slot, select the vbmeta patch.tar file and click on open. Once you have uploaded both the files, click on start. The flashing will now begin and will take only a few seconds for that to complete. So let's just wait. Once the flashing is done, you will now have to press and hold the power and the volume down keys for around 7 seconds. By doing so, your phone will try to undergo a restart, but while undergoing a restart, it will first power off. So as soon as it powers off, you will then have to press and hold the power and the volume up keys, and your phone will then boot to the recovery mode. So let me show you. First off, press and hold the power and the volume down keys for around 7 seconds, and your phone will then try to boot to the OS. While that's happening, it will first power off. As soon as it powers off, now press and hold the power and the volume up keys for around 5 to 6 seconds, and then let go of the keys. As soon as you let go of the key, your phone should now reboot to the TWRP recovery. Do note that the timing is extremely important. If you don't press the key at the right time, then the TWRP recovery will be replaced by the stock recovery, and you will have to carry out the entire steps once again. So if you are booted to the OS or the stock recovery, then make sure to reflash the recovery as I explained you. And as you could see in my case, we are now inside the recovery. For the Galaxy S20, we are using the FB disabler method. So now you will have to go to wipe, advanced wipe, and checkmark data partition, then key data, key refugee, and after that metadata. So checkmark all these 4 partition: data, metadata, key data, and key refugee, and strive to wipe. It will take a few seconds for that to happen. Once that is done, you will now have to reboot to the recovery just to be on a safer side. So go to reboot and choose recovery, and your phone will now reboot to the recovery mode. Do note that there is a bug across all the TWRP recovery variants, that in case you are on the stock firmware, then the TWRP recovery will not be able to decrypt the internal storage. Let me show you the issue as well. So irrespective of the One UI version, if you are currently using a TWRP recovery, then it will not be able to read the files on the internal storage. So that is why we cannot use the SD card directory and we have to use any other location. For instance, if I go to the install option, you could see it's currently encrypted. To decrypt it, you will have to do a format data. That will fix the issue, but upon a subsequent reboot, the issue will reappear. So instead of doing a format data, simply let's flash the file using any other location. As of now, as you could see, it's the SD card, but only the SD card is currently encrypted. Let's now proceed ahead and choose any other directory. Let's say the data. As you could see, this is not encrypted, so we could use the data directory to flash the ROM file. So let me show you how that could be done. So first and foremost, you could take 2 approaches. Either you could flash the ROM via the ADB sideload directly, or you may first transfer the ROM file via ADB push command and then flash it via the install option of the recovery file. Both of them will work equally good. So as of now, we will be using the ADB sideload method because it's the shorter and the easier of the two. So for that, what you could do is go to the downloads page on your PC and get hold of the ROM file which you have downloaded. This is the matrix file. Copy it and transfer it inside the platform tools. The ROM does not have any GApp packages whatsoever. If you want to flash the GApp packages, then get hold of the GApps from my guide. I've given all the GApp packages from my guide, so go there and download the packages from the core GApps, basic, Omni, as well as the stock GApps or the full GApps. So as of now, I'm using the core GApp, which has just the required basic minimal Google app packages. So for downloading, there are quite a few GApp packages like GApps, Nick GApps, Mind the Gaps, and Bit GApps. So as of now, I'm using the Nick GApps for the Android 14 build. So let me use this one. Click on download now, and it will go to release section, and from there you may get hold of the latest file, latest build for the Android 14, which is Nick GApps U. U is for the upside down cake. Then go to the latest folder date, and from here you may download the one which correspond to your need. As of now, I'm using the core GApps, which has just the basic minimal GApp packages. So it will take a few seconds to download, and once that is done, you will have to transfer the GApps packages inside the platform tools folder as well. So as of now, both the ROM zip file and the GApp zip file should be there inside the platform tools. So guys, let's now get started with the flashing process. But before that, let's do one thing and do a format data just to be on safer side. You might get a few warning signs regarding fail to mount partition. That is completely normal. Just make sure you are getting a successful message at the top. Once that is done, go to reboot and choose recovery to reboot your phone back to the TWRP recovery. This will mount the data partition of our phone once again, and once that is done, we could now flash the ROM file. So for flashing the ROM file, there exist two methods, the ADB sideload and the ADB push. While the ADB sideload is the shorter and easier of the two, but I will highly recommend you to use the ADB push command because it's the recommended method of flashing. So first off, I'll show you the ADB push method on how to flash it. So as you might be aware, the internal storage of our phone, since I've done a format data, so I might not be able to show you, but I have shown you earlier that the SD card of my phone was completely encrypted. It was not decrypted, but since we have done a format data, the SD card is now formatted and it's now decrypted, at least as of now. So we could now easily transfer the file to this location and then flash them. So for transferring the file, you have to open the CMD window and then type in a new command. Let me just open the CMD window once again and type in ADB push, which is now the file name, which is rom.zip / and the location. In my case, I have done a format data, so SD card is now decrypted. But if in your case the SD card is still encrypted, then you may use any other location such as the data partition or anything like that. You may simply type in data and the file will be transferred there. In my case, the SD card is now decrypted, so I could use the SD card location. So type in the command and hit enter, and the file will now be transferred onto your phone SD card partition. So as I was saying, please don't use the ADB sideload method because most of the recovery such as the TWRP, Orange Fox and Pitch Black, which have an install option, for those recovery you should always use the install option and don't use the ADB sideload. The ADB sideload should be only used with the AOSP recovery such as the Lineage OS, Evolution X, Sierra Droid. But in case of TWRP and Orange Fox and all those recovery, it's highly recommended that you use the ADB push command always. If the normal MTP is not working, then use the ADB push method, or you may simply transfer the file onto your phone from your PC as well. But as of now, I've used the ADB push command, file name and the partition. So the file is now transferred. Let me show you in the, it's now should be in the SD card and it's now there. Likewise, let me now transfer the GApps file as well, and this time around let me show you how to transfer a file to any other location. So let me now transfer the GApp file to the data partition of my phone. Let's suppose the SD card is currently encrypted, so in that case you may also transfer the file to the data partition and the file is transferred. So in the SD card I have the ROM file and in the data partition I have the GApp file. So as of now I'll show you how to flash the file. For flashing, it's the same steps as you do so for any other file. Just choose the ROM zip file and do a right swipe to flash it. The flashing will now start and it could take up to around 5 to 10 minutes at the very max. So let's just wait for the flashing to complete, and after that we will flash the GApps and then root the ROM as well. Flashing the GApps and obtaining root are completely optional, so if you want you may do so or then skip it as well. And the above error message that you are seeing was just failed to mount partition name, which is completely normal and nothing to worry about. With that said, the flashing is now going on, and it will take a few more seconds for the flashing to complete. And the flashing is now done, and as you could see, we are getting the fail to mount vendor partition. That's again completely normal. Now if you want to flash the GApps file, then you will have to reboot to recovery and then flash the GApps. If you don't want to flash any other zip file, then you have to do a format data and then reboot to system. But format data is compulsory. If you want to flash any zip file or not, that is optional, but doing a format data is compulsory. So again, I am repeating, if you want to flash any zip file, then do a reboot to recovery, flash the zip file, then do a format data, and only then reboot to system. On the other hand, if you don't want to flash any other zip file, then directly do a format data and then reboot to the system. So as of now, I want to flash the GApp file, so I'm going to reboot and I'm choosing the recovery. My phone will now reboot to the recovery, and after that I will flash the GApp zip file. After flashing the GApp zip file, I will then do a format data and then only reboot to the system. So let's wait for a few seconds, and then I will show you the result as well. So our phone should now reboot to the TWRP recovery. Make sure that you have transferred the GApp file onto your phone as well. Again, I am repeating, don't use the side load. Always use the ADB push command to get the job done. So now go to install. In my case, it was in the data partition. So let's use the GApps zip file and swipe it. And the flashing of the GApps will now start. Will take a few seconds for the flashing to complete. I have used the core GApps, which only have around 4 to 5 GApp packages. Depending on the number of GApps you have flashed, the timing might vary. So in my case, the GApp will be flashed in just a few seconds. And once that is done, you might get a fail to mount vendor, which is completely normal. Again, if you want to flash any other zip file, such as Magisk or any other file, then again do a reboot to recovery. Once you have flashed all the zip file, go to wipe format data, type in yes and hit the blue check mark. This will wipe off all the data from your phone. Once that is done, you will now have to go to advanced wipe and now check mark the metadata partition and swipe to wipe. And once that is done, you will again get a fail to mount. That is completely normal. Once you have done a format data and after that you have wiped the metadata partition as well, you will now reboot to the system. So just tap on reboot system and your phone will now reboot to the newly flashed OS. Do keep in mind that the first boot up will take up some additional time frame. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. From the subsequent time, that will not be the case. Moreover, let's just wait for the boot animation to appear, which will signify that the flashing has been done successfully. So let's just wait for a few more seconds and then we will verify the result as well. And at the end of this video, I'll show you how to obtain root as well. Obtaining root is completely optional. You could obtain root via the Magisk or the kernel SU. And as you could see, this is the Matrix OS boot animation, which signifies that the flashing has been done successfully. So just keep in mind that if you flash the ROM via the ADB sideload, then you will face a few issues. So just use the ADB push command and then use the install option of the recovery file to flash the ROM file. With that said, let's just wait for the ROM to boot up, and it might take a little bit longer as well depending on the GApps packages which you have flashed, because it's now also loading all the GApps services in the backend apart from the entire ROM file. And with this, we are now inside the ROM. So let's get started with the setup process. As of now, I am skipping the initial setup and will take you to the OS directly. So let me skip all these stuffs and tap on next, again next, and let me skip the password as well. And let's go with the dark theme, gesture navigation, and hit start. And with this, we are now inside the Matrix ROM. So this is the QS tiles, this is the app drawer, home drawer, and this is the QS tiles. Let's go to the settings menu, and from here let's access the Matrix settings, and this is where all the goodies are there. So first off is the about Matrix section. You may have a look at the Matrix information, then go to the buttons, then you may enable the swipe to take partial screenshot as well. So take the volume down and the power keys to take a partial screenshot. You may crop it and take only a screenshot of a portion of the screen, and apart from that, you may customize the power menu, change the power menu animation as well. let me choose the 3D animation and have a look. As you could see now, then you may change the add or remove the option from the power menu as well. The advanced restart is already there. If I long press the advanced restart option, you may see these are the options which are there. The fastboot D is also there, although in Samsung phone we don't usually use the fastboot D mode. Then you may end the call via the power menu, then long press the power button for the torch, wake up the phone via the power menu. Then you have a few lock screen tweaks as well. You may choose a custom lock screen. So as of now, let me go with the, let's say, clock custom 3, or apart from that you may also choose the clock stylish. This is my preferred one. I always go with this clock style. Then apart from that, you may choose the font style as well for the lock screen clock. There are quite a lot of clock font styles, but this will overlap with the custom clock, so you make sure to choose any one of these two only. So for instance, if you choose this one, this might not be visible on the custom clock style, so either choose this one or this one. As of now, I am using the custom clock style, so the clock font style I'm going with the default one. Apart from that, you may also implement the depth wallpaper similar to the one you get on the iOS. In this, the subject of the wallpaper will set as the clock and the widgets will come forward, and the rest of the wallpaper will be at the back end and with a shallow background. Then you may also enable or disable the battery information and show the battery bar when the phone is charging in the lock screen. Then you may enable the weather settings and the weather widgets on the lock screen as well. For that, you will have to be online all the time. Then you may enable the double tap to sleep, fingerprint vibration authentication as well. You may feel the vibration when you lock or unlock your phone. Then you may enable the power menu on the lock screen as well. Apart from that, there are a few miscellaneous tweaks as well. You may hide the developer option from the apps of your choice. Simply search the app from here and hide them. There are some banking and payment app which does not allow the developer option to be shown. You may hide them from here. Then you may unlock higher FPS in the game. You may enable the toggle to get unlimited Google photo storage in full quality without any compression. Then you may spoof your phone to any other phone and you will be able to watch the Netflix and all the other DRM content in full HD quality without any compression or downgrade whatsoever by default. In most of the custom ROM, you get the Wide1 DRM L3 certification, but after enabling this, you will get the L1 certification and you could watch the content in 1080p. Then you may strive to take a screenshot option as well. So it's working well and good. Then apart from that, let's go to the navigation bar tweaks, and you may enable the pixel navigation bar animation, and you may assign a few tweaks to this navigation bar. If you are using a 3-button navigation, then you may assign these options to each of these buttons as well. The back button, the home button, as well as the recent app buttons, you may assign the actions to all these buttons. Currently I'm using the gesture navigation, so it might not be implemented on these tweaks. Then you have a notification as well. You may add the force stop button in the notification for these apps. So it will not be there on the system app, it will only be there on some of the apps. So this is the force stop. As you could see, it's there on the notifications. Then you may enable the less boring, and then it will only show the notification from the most important apps of your choice. Then let's go to the QS, and from here you may add an image. First enable it, then let's choose a static image, and you may choose from any one of these. Let's go with the, let's say, flat scenery, and you may choose from the scenery or any other of your choice. So let's get with the Avengers only, Avengers 1, and the image is now set as you could see on your phone. You may choose from any one of your choice. Apart from that, let's get with the poly, and this is the poly one. Let's go with the blue one, and it's now set. And apart from that, you may also choose a custom image, then choose a custom image of your choice and implement it. Then you may choose a battery style in the QS styles. For instance, this is the icon landscape, and let me now show you. As you could see, the landscape in the battery style, and you may hide or show the battery percentage as well. You may show the battery percentage inside the battery icon. Then you may hide the QS styles on the secure lock screen To hide some of the important information such as the payment QoS tiles, you may hide on the lock screen. Then this is the brightness slider. You may change the positioning of it to the top and the bottom. As you could see, now it's in the bottom, but still I like to keep in the top always. And apart from that, you may change the QoS tile style as well, whether it's the circle or the square. As of now, it's now circles, similar to the one we get in Android 11, I guess. Let me go back to the default one. Then you may hide the label or show the label, by label meaning the naming scheme. Then you may change the number of QoS tiles in each row and each column as well. You may assign an animation to it as well. Let me show you. After tapping on it, it will animate. Then apart from that, there are a few sound tweaks as well. The pulse graphics animation as well. You may add it for the navigation bar pulse. When you play a music, then depending on the lyrics, it will show the pulse on the navigation bar as well as on the lock screen and even on the AOD as well. However, keep in mind that this will lead to additional battery drainage. So if that's well and good, then only proceed ahead. Then you may change the volume style. So this is the default volume style, as you could see. Let's go with the gradient style and show you the results. So this is the gradient style. Then this is the outline. And there should be a Realme one as well, which is my favorite. So this is the Realme UI style, and I mostly use the Realme style because it's somewhat minimal in nature. You are free to choose any one of your choice. You may change it to the left and right positioning as well. As you could see, now it's on the right. And apart from that, you have a few status bar tweaks as well. In this, you may change the clock style to the left and right and hide or show the clock date as well, and the PM, AM, PM seconds icon, and as well as the voice over LTE and voice over Wi-Fi icons you may show or hide as well. And apart from that, you may enable the color icon. As of now, all the icons are in the white. Enable it, and as you could see, the Play Store icon is now colored, similar to how you get in the app drawer. Then you may also add a logo positioning left or right, and choose a logo from here. This is the Avengers logo, as you could see at the top left. You may choose from any one of these logo. Let me turn off the logo or go with the matrix. Then you may change the battery in the status bar as well. For instance, let's go with the landscape iOS 16, and it is now implemented. You may enable double tap on the status bar to sleep. It's working well and good. Double tap to wake is also working. You will be taken to the AOD. And lastly, we have a few UI tweaks as well. You may add a few homepage widgets as well. Then customize the themes. By default, you have the tonal spot. Then you may choose from any one of these themes, such as the expressive, rainbow, muted, and all such themes. Then you may enable accent color and choose the color of your choice. Let's say the red color, and the red hue will be implemented. It's not looking good. Let me go back to the default theme itself. So when you change the theme, the system UI might undergo a restart. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. And apart from that, you have a few UI styles as well. So these are the themes. In this, one of the theme is completely black. Let me just have a look at that. I don't remember which theme was that. This is the transparent theme. I guess the vivid theme was completely black. Yes, this is the one. So I usually go with the complete black theme. Even I used to have the theming engine which was known as Substratum, I guess. In that theme also I used the complete black theme. Then you may change the navigation bar style of the 3-button navigation from here, or change the font style from here. There are quite a few fonts to choose from. This is the cookie run. Tap on apply and it will be implemented across the entire UI and UX of the OS. Then there are a few icon packs, and for the status bar, let me enable a few options over here. Just give me a minute and have a look at the status bar, and the same will be implemented. This is the lawn, and as you could see, the lawn is implemented. This is for the Oxygen OS, and the change is implemented. You may choose from any one of these icon style for the status bar. Then you may also change the icon shape in the app drawer. This is the square circle. Let me choose it, and as you could see, the change is now implemented. And apart from the icon shape, you may also enable or disable the notification on the AOD, show the date and time on the AOD. So as of now, we will now get the time and the date as well in the AOD, and the charging information at the bottom. As you could see, double tap or use the volume key to wake it up. And apart from that, you may customize the text style, text animation and text color on the AOD as well. Then you may enable the edge lighting, and whenever you get a notification, the edges of your phone will light up. But again, I'm repeating, this will lead to additional battery drainage, so make sure to make this sacrifice accordingly. Then there are a few screen off animations such as the CRT. The CRT was there in the, I guess, Sony Xperia phones. Then smart pixel, if you enable smart pixel, then most of the pixel will turn off to save the battery percentage. That will happen in case of 75. Let me go with it. Let me unplug my phone and verify. So it will be turned off when the battery percentage reaches the 75% mark. You may change the percentage accordingly. This is, in this case, some of the pixel will be turned off to save battery on your phone, and this is quite a nifty feature which I always use. And apart from that, these are all the features. Then you may tweak some of the features from here as well. The wallpaper and style, you may go here and change the wallpaper. Then you may change the clock style from here, or the clock style which you are already using. Then go to the home screen and enable the themed icon from here. As you could see, it's enabled. You may change the color from here as well. It follows the dynamic color engine. It will automatically pick up the major color from the wallpaper and apply it across the OS and all the apps. Then you may change the app grid and choose the number of apps to be shown in the app screen. As of now, we are going with the 5x5, which does the jobs. Then this is the font style and the icon style, which we have already made a selection from the settings menu. And that's just about it. So guys, on that note, I round off this video. If you have any queries with regard to any of the steps, do let me know in the comment section, and thanks a lot for watching. So guys, we are now done with the flashing of the ROM, and we have also checked all the features. Let's now proceed ahead and root the phone. So do know that rooting is completely optional. Moreover, there exist two ways through which you can root your phone, either via Magisk or kernel SU. If we talk about Magisk, then you simply have to flash the Magisk zip file via the WRP recovery. So boot your phone to the recovery via ADB reboot recovery command. Then flash the Magisk zip file. I've given the link for the Magisk as well. So download the Magisk from my guide. This is the link, Magisk zip file. Download it and then flash it via the recovery file. After that, simply install the Magisk APK file, launch the Magisk APK, and your task stands complete. So this is quite a straightforward method, and you might already be aware of that. I will also link a video regarding that as well. As of now, let's try a different approach and root our phone via the kernel SU. So you may get hold of the kernel SU patch file from here, from this link. So download the kernel SU patch file. It will be something along the following lines. This is the one. It's from the Lineage OS. So copy it and transfer it inside your phone. So just give me a minute. Let me change it to file transfer. So select file transfer, and now let's transfer the kernel SU file onto our phone. Apart from that, you will also need the kernel SU APK file. So I made a detailed guide on the same, on how you could root Android phone via kernel SU, and it has all the information, all the links as well. And I made a video on that as well. It's around 1 hour, quite long. If you want, you may have a look at that. I will highly recommend you do so. Anyways, as of now, from this guide, you only need the kernel SU APK file. So go to the GitHub link, and from there, simply expand this section by clicking on Show All Asset. Then scroll to the bottom, and you will get an APK file. As you could see, this is the APK file. So let's download the APK file as well. And once you have got the APK file, download it, transfer the APK file onto your phone as well. So as of now, both the kernel SU zip file and the APK file should be there on your phone. Once that is done, first and foremost, simply install the kernel SU APK file. So go to any file manager app of your choice, then choose the kernel SU APK, and let's now install it. Don't open the kernel SU as of now, just tap on done. Once that is done, you will now have to reboot your phone to the recovery mode. So let's first enable USB debugging. So go to settings menu, about phone, and tap on build number 7 times. You will get a prompt that you are now a developer. Now go to system, and you should now see developer option. Go there, enable the toggle next to USB debugging. You will get a prompt, tap on OK. You might get an RC key prompt as well. In that case, tap on allow, and with this, debugging is now enabled. So let's verify the same. Type in ADB devices and make sure that you're getting an ID. Once you're getting this ID, now type in ADB reboot recovery, and your phone should now reboot into the TWRP recovery. It will take only a few seconds for that to happen. So let's just wait and then we will proceed ahead with the next step. So our phone should now reboot into the TWRP recovery and then we could flash the kernel SU zip file. You may also transfer the zip file via the ADB push command as well, as I have shown you earlier, or you may use the USB OTG device if you have, but don't use the ADB sideload method because we want to flash the file via the install section of TWRP. So only use ADB push or the mount method. And with this we are now inside the recovery. The recovery boot up might take up some additional time frame. That is completely normal. The biggest advantage of a TWRP recovery on a custom ROM is that it will not encrypt the internal storage. You could easily access all the files. It is decrypted, as you could see. So as opposed to the stock One UI, the custom ROM, all the custom ROM, the TWRP recovery will decrypt the storage automatically. There is no cause of any concern. With that said, you should now choose the KSU file, the kernel SU zip file, and flash it. The flashing will take only a few seconds, so let's just wait for the flashing to complete, and it could take up to around 15-20 seconds. So it's now flashing and installing the file. So let's just wait, and once the flashing is done, you will get fail to mount vendor partition. This is completely normal and nothing to worry about. Just make sure you are getting the successful message. You may now wipe the cache and Dalvik cache just to be on the safer side. Finally, tap on reboot system and your phone will now reboot to the OS with the root obtained via the kernel SU. So let's verify the same. For verification, I'll show you two apps. So let's take the help of Root Checker and Termux app. There is one more important aspect that I would like to show you with regards to the kernel SU. So if you are using the kernel SU for the first time and up until now you had only used Magisk, then there is a major difference on how you will give the root permission to various apps. So I'll show you what exactly is the difference. For that I will need a couple of root apps. So let's take Root Checker as well as the Termux app. These are the two apps that I will show you for reference. So as of now our phone has obtained root. You may now launch the kernel SU app and let's verify the result. As you could see, it's now working. So we have now obtained root via the kernel SU. But now if I transfer a couple of files, let me first change it to file transfer and then keep a note of very important thing that I'm about to show you. So any app which requires root, so in that case what you have to do is, let me show you. If I now launch the files app, and first off if I launch the Root Checker app, it will take a few seconds to install. If I open the app and let's allow it, tap on agree, get started, and now if I tap on verify root, you could see showing us that root is not installed on my phone, whereas in fact I have obtained root by the kernel SU, but still it is showing as root is not there on my phone. Similarly, if I use the Termux app, let me show you that as well as a second reference app. Let's use the Termux app. If I now open it, tap on allow, then if I type in SU and hit enter, you will see no SU program is found, whereas I already obtained root via the kernel SU. So why is this happening? Well, in case of Magisk, when you launch any root app, then you get a super user request, but that is not the case with kernel SU. You will have to manually give it the root permission. So for that, launch the kernel SU app, go to the super user tab, and from here you will now have to manually give it the root permission to the app of your choice. So let's enable it for the Root Checker app. Likewise, let's enable it for the Termux app, and make sure to close the app from the background, both the apps. And now when you launch the app, let me show you. Let's launch the Root Checker app, tap on verify root, and we have obtained root. So you will no longer get super user request. You just have to manually enable the super user shell for the required app from the kernel SU app. Once you have enabled the toggle, it has obtained root and you will no longer have to carry out any task whatsoever. So let me now open a new session for the Termux as well. If I now type in SU, you could see I have now obtained root, and you will no longer get any super user request as well. You could now carry out the required task. So with this, we are done with the task. You have obtained root, and if you want to flash any module, then simply launch the kernel SU, go to the modules tab, tap on install, choose the module zip file and flash it as you flash for any other zip file in Magisk. It's quite similar to same as here itself. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. So just to recall, when it comes to flashing the ROM, do not use the ADB sideload. Instead, you should always use the ADB push command, and you may transfer the file to either the data partition or the SD card, anywhere will do. But keep in mind, if you are transferring it to SD card, then it will be encrypted by default. You will have to do a format data. After a format data, it will be decrypted. But if you don't want to do a format data, then simply transfer the ROM file to any other partition, such as the data partition or the temp partition. After that, you will then have to flash the ROM file via the ADB push command. Once you have flashed the ROM file, you will then have to reboot to recovery, and then you may flash the GApps if you want. Once you have flashed all the files, you will have to do a format data. After doing a format data, you will also have to delete the data of the metadata partition. Finally, you may then reboot to the OS. And if you talk about rooting our phone, you could either do so via Magisk or the kernel SU. In case of Magisk, download the Magisk APK file from my guide, then rename it to Magisk Zip and flash the Magisk Zip via TWRP recovery. Likewise, install the Magisk APK as well, and then your task can complete. In case of kernel SU, get hold of the kernel SU zip file from here, flash it via TWRP recovery, then install the kernel SU APK file as well, and that's just about it. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. If you have any queries with regard to any of the steps, do let me know in the comment section, and thanks a lot for watching.